You know that thing where you stare at your screen, mentally running every possible scenario of how a conversation could go, and you tell yourself, I'm not stalling, I'm being thorough. I am a master of logistics genius. Yeah, no, that's absolutely not true. We love to dress up overthinking like it's noble, like we're just trying to make the best decision. And we treat our brain like a supercomputer solving world hunger when really it's just trying to find a loophole. Because here's a reality check you didn't ask for, but I'm going to give you anyway, which is probably another reason that we're going so viral, is you already know what you need to do. Deep down, past the TikTok scroll, you're using it to drown out that you know. You know the conversation you've been avoiding, you know the boundary that you need to set, even if it makes you the villain for 5 minutes. You know the opportunity that scares you and the truth you're currently trying to negotiate down. So if you already know, why are you still circling the block? Maybe it's because you lack clarity, and that would be fair. But if you have clarity and you're still stuck, it's because clarity just handed you the bill. And inflation is hitting everything these days, including personal growth. Clarity revealed a price tag, and an extraordinary life doesn't do discounts. It charges full freight. So today, we're getting into courage. Why your overthinking is just avoidance in a business suit, and why courage is the missing piece between knowing better and doing better. Coffee up, put your brave face and your big girl panties on, the ones with the yellow polka dots, and let's get into it. That brings us to the information equation. Let's talk about the biggest scam that we all willingly fall for. I call it the information equation. We've been conditioned to believe life runs on a formula. Information equals certainty equals action. We think if we gather just enough data, a green light appears in the sky or a light bulb pops up over our head, and suddenly we feel 100% safe to take action. So what do? We become unpaid researchers. We buy the books that stack up on the nightstand. We download the podcast. Hi, thanks for listening to this one specifically. It is a great data point. We build spreadsheets to track other spreadsheets. Maybe that's just me. Let me save you the time. Certainty is a ghost. It is a mirage. It is not real. Think about it. The entrepreneur opening a new business has no idea if it crushes or it craters. And they do it anyway. And there's no information that's going to tell them whether it's going to work or not. Parents have no clue if they're raising a future president or someone who's going to spend thousands on therapy. They're winging it every single day. And when you finally send the text, hey, we need to talk. First of all, don't send that text. It's rude. Just ask to get together. But when you do talk, you have no guarantee that you're going to not get a passive aggressive response or just get blocked and thrown out of a relationship. But really, getting blocked for sending a we need to talk text is super reasonable. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
No reason to create anxiety unnecessarily.
Hey, we need to talk. All right, what is it? Do you want bananas from the grocery store?
How dare you? Get out.
Get out. Do not darken my door again.
And I know we've talked about this, but you're able to kind of drop into the body, and the amount of information that your body will give you, reliable information, is so much greater. And it was astounding to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely astounding. Which is definitely a skill you have to build. That's not just something you can...
It is a skill you have to build, and I don't think either of them should be relied on exclusively. Analysis or intuition. The analogy that I use is definitely not the brain first, because your intuition is going to get you into the right ballpark.
Yes.
And then your reasoning and analysis is going to get you onto the right base. Yeah. If you are using your reasoning and analysis in the wrong ballpark, it doesn't matter how much thinking it does.
For sure.
You're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And your intuition is what's telling you, hey, this is home, not home. We shouldn't be here. This isn't our bag.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to how, I don't know if it's nature or nurture, but I realize that we are all so conditioned to get the why first, and the why's not supposed to come first. It's come last.
Yeah.
And it took me so long to truly internalize that and allow myself to drop out of those ruminations cycles.
Yeah, I think the conscious knowledge of why comes last.
Yes.
But it's also it may be the last step, but it is the step that makes what you're doing durable.
I don't understand how you're using the word durable.
Rather than just taking up a hobby that's a flight of fancy that you do for 4 weeks, once you have a firm why, it's no, I'm doing this because this is what I do. This is who I am. This is how I show up. When I hit hardships in life, I don't immediately quit and give up and try something different.
Yeah.
I just try a different route, which is the difference between tenacity and stubbornness. And that if you are tenacity, the goal remains the goal, the outcome remains the outcome. You are tenacious. If you are stubborn, you're just going to keep doing the same process no matter what the outcome is. Those people are stubborn.
I will die on that hill of my life has gotten so much easier when I ask my body what's right first. Yeah, I think it's one of those small ways that a seemingly small experience or a skill that is building that is changing my life in a much greater fashion than might initially be realized. It's pretty cool.
But you're in that point, the future is always foggy and there's always a big chance of who knows. And the goal isn't certainty. The goal is enough clarity to be able to move. And to have enough clarity, you don't need the whole map. You just need to see far enough ahead to take one step without kicking your shin into a coffee table. So, what is overthinking? Because we've all been diagnosing it all wrong. We love to treat overthinking like it's a highbrow, intellectual thinking problem. We tell people, I am a chronic overanalyzer. It is my blessing and my curse. That sounds sophisticated. Plot twist, it's not a thinking problem. It's not a problem with analysis and reasoning. It's an emotional issue.
Or
This is where you go,
avoiding emotion issue. Ow, my feeling.
So you aren't replaying the decision for the 14th time because you're missing information. You're taking another lap around the same block because every single outcome comes with a side order of nope, and none of them are on the dollar menu. Your brain is basically running a 24/7 horror movie marathon starring your worst fears. What if they get mad at me? What if I fail and have to move back into my parents' basement? What if I look stupid on social media? The ultimate horror. What if I lose money or worse, my pride? What if I am flat out wrong? What your mind is secretly doing here is playing a game of cosmic hide and go seek. It keeps searching for a magical alternate universe where you can make a big life change where it's nothing but rainbows and unicorns. A version of reality where courage isn't required. But I hate to break it to you, that universe doesn't exist. Not even the Marvel has a multiverse where growth is easy and comfortable. Overthinking is an attempt to avoid a feeling or by paying the price. We aren't looking for the right answer. We're trying to avoid feeling rejected, embarrassed, or uncomfortable. But you can't outthink an emotion.
I think one of the greatest things for me has been coming out of a poverty mindset. It can be like you suddenly are responsible for these things for yourself, and it can be very unsettling, very disconcerting to think like when you, in my situation, like I am fully aware of really how good the job is that I have, just in the things they offer me in exchange for my employment, not what I do or the quality of the work or anything like that. The contract, pretty sweet contract.
Moving from poverty mindset to the abundance mindset.
The idea of letting go of that 9 to 5 paycheck to go take a risk on myself when there is this growing, beautiful feeling of the more education I receive, the more I realize I'm going to be pretty good at this. And there's such beautiful support in my life. And I have so many cheerleaders that are like, yes, I want to receive this. Please practice. I want to be your guinea pig. There's so much I have going for me because I am doing this. I'm finding alignment for myself. It's just kind of like, it's just being given to me. It's falling into my lap. And even being fully aware the type of support I have in my life, it's a bit of a challenge to internalize not having that solid paycheck every 2 weeks, your bank account every 2 weeks. And so that in and of itself is, that's one to work through.
Yeah. So a couple things there. One, Nassim Taleb, the author of The Black Swan, has a beautiful quote for this. The 3 most addictive substances known to Western man are heroin, sugar, and a steady paycheck.
Oh my God, I believe it.
Yeah. And sometimes people are like, I don't know, it's not too hard to quit. I'm like, yeah, you try and quit one of those.
Yeah, especially the second two.
Yeah.
I will not comment on the third one, but man.
Yeah, I would say for me, moving from a steady paycheck to truly working for yourself, you don't get to spend all the money when it comes in. Like when hey, I'm going to get paid again in 2 weeks. All right, I got $1,000. I can spend 950 of it and I'll be okay because it'll be 950 next week. You get $1,000 this week, you work for yourself. You're like, I'm going to spend $200 and then put the rest of this in the bank and sit on it.
Yeah.
And then you have to learn, hey, once I have 3 to 6 months of bills paid up, set aside so that I can pay bills for 6 months if I have to without making another dollar, then you start to feel comfortable again. And it's a different kind of freedom who anybody who is working for a steady paycheck is not comfortable with. Of if I quit today and didn't do anything for a year, I'd be fine. I'd be bored.
Yeah, for sure.
This is going to become somebody else's problem real quick. The poverty mindset of my parents and my grandparents of everything is hard and it's hard to get money. It's like money's super easy to get. Money's super easy. Figure out how to create value, go create value, go give that value away. And then capture some of that value that you're creating for other people. I think the biggest problem that people have in life is that they aren't creating any value.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to something that how you probably mentioned to me 100 times before I actually allowed it to sink into the folds of my brain, which is just skill building.
Do you have a skill?
Yeah.
No, you're going to have a bad time.
I've had a friend tell me before, it's okay, man. I had parents that didn't raise me too. And in some sense, that's a ow, but in some sense, you're 100% correct because that is something that a lot of people learn in their upbringing. Like, what are you good at? What do you enjoy? What do you want to do?
Or even worse, in their upbringing, they're told whatever it is that they're drawn towards or what they do is not allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, which is definitely something
we have to beat your preferences out of you.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I can create success for myself, but I spent so long not understanding that if you just create a skill, you can identify the value you fill and then take exactly the action that you're talking about.
That is one of the things where people who have not figured it out, it doesn't matter how gently you tell them that it's not that difficult to make money, they take it as offensive. One of the things when I work with people is when we're trying to get their financial house in order, it is like, hey, I want your time to be worth double in a year what it is today. So whatever it is you're making per hour, I want you to make double that in a year. Are you going to work the same number of hours, more hours, or less hours? They don't.
What?
And when they say, no, I'll work more hours, it's, hey, good luck out there. Godspeed. Hope it works out for you. I'm not very hard.
If I never had to clock it again, I wouldn't. That just screams, do you have a need for money? Is it greed that powers that? Or
some of that is a poverty mindset, and some of it is a status thing. Oh, I'm going to get my status through more money. It is a form of status, but it's the worst. One of the lesser forms.
Yeah.
Fame is probably the least of them. Money being second.
Now, if I'm famous for anything, I want it to be for some sort of delicious food I make. All my friends are like, oh my God, have you had Riley's famous salsa? And I'll be like, yeah, it's so good.
The green stuff, it is really good, people.
Yeah.
I've had some. It was quite delightful. Yeah. It should be famous.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So, clarity always reveals fear. A confused mind always says no. And confusion can be a beautiful, cozy little blanket. We like being confused because confusion protects us, or being oblivious. If you can convince yourself that I don't know what I want to do with my life, then I don't have to choose anything. I can stay on the couch, eat my chips, and pretend I am a victim of circumstance. It's great. But if the blanket of confusion slips off and clarity appears, bam, uncertainty walks right through the front door. Because suddenly you can't play dumb anymore. The fog clears and you realize exactly what matters to you, what needs to change, and who or what needs to be addressed, and exactly what you're going to have to risk to get it. It's like turning on the lights in a messy room. You can't pretend the pile of laundry on the chair is a ghost anymore. You see it for what it is. Which brings us to the ultimate truth of today's episode. Clarity doesn't remove fear. Clarity reveals where courage is required. Getting clear about your goals, your values, or your relationships isn't going to make you instantly safe and bubbly. It's going to point a big flashing neon arrow at the exact thing you're terrified of doing and saying, all right, champ, there's your giant. Go swing. And every meaningful life charges a fee. There is absolutely no hidden loophole or cheat code in this universe where you get the good stuff for free. There is no hack to authenticity without vulnerability, love without the terrifying risk of heartbreak, leadership without people criticizing your choices, growth without a healthy dose of discomfort, or freedom without the weight of responsibility. Everything that matters costs something. So stop waiting for a discount code. The universe isn't running a Black Friday sale on personal growth. The question isn't even if you're not going to pay. The question is simply, what are you going to pay with and when? Because every life charges a fee. Courage is the cheapest one. Courage is the bargain basement price of accomplishment in life, because your options are incredibly simple. You can pay with courage now, or you can pay with regret later. And trust me, the interest rates on regret are brutal. You can pay with discomfort now, or you can pay with a slow, agonizing dissatisfaction later. You can pay with vulnerability now, or you can pay with a lingering, heavy loneliness later. You're going to pay either way. You can either pay up front with a little bit of short-term bravery, or you can finance your fear over a lifetime and pay with your potential. Personally, I'd rather take the hit now, do the breath work, build the capacity, and step into the unknown. So here's where breathwork comes in. Sadly, breathwork is not magical fairy dust. I'd probably be selling a lot more of it if it were. But conscious connected breathing does not hand you a heroic. There, we said it. Conscious connected breathing does not hand you a heroic dose of courage out of nowhere. You don't lie down, take a few deep breaths, and stand back up as Braveheart. Be a lot cooler if you did. What it does is sneakier than that. It changes your relationship with discomfort. We're really good at dodging discomfort. If you can dodge a feeling, you can dodge a wrench.
Great. It's excellent. I love dodgeball so much.
Thought I might get you with that one.
So good. One of my top 5 favorite movies for sure.
Hard conversation incoming, dodge it with TikTok. Awkward silence, let's check the inventory in the fridge for the 6th time today. Uncertain outcome, 17 new tabs of research that you'll never finish reading. You're an Olympic-level dodgeball athlete at dodging uncomfortable feelings. Neo from The Matrix is impressed. Breathwork is one place where it's safe for you to stop dodging and start catching feelings. You're lying there, something intense shows up. Maybe it's a tingling in your hands. Maybe it's a tightness in your chest, a little anxiety. Maybe it's a feeling that you can't name, but it's uncomfortable. And every cell in your body is screaming the same message it always screams. Get up, check your phone, make it stop, go fiddle with something. And instead, you ride it out. You look your nervous system dead in the eye while it's throwing a tantrum, and you say, nope, we're staying right here. That's it. That's the whole training. It's not a breathing exercise, it's a rep. Courage isn't a personality trait. Courage is nervous system capacity. And like bicep curls make hauling groceries up the stairs feel like nothing, doing reps on the mat makes the real version, the hard conversation, the boundary, the leap, feel like just another Tuesday. Here's one thing people don't expect from breathwork. It doesn't just build your capacity for hard things, it also turns down how big those things feel. Because I've certainly done this, maybe you have too. The second that we get clear on what matters, we make it enormous. This conversation is it. If I mess this up, my whole life is a joke. And the second it becomes important, you stopped acting normal and start acting like you're crossing a tightrope over alligators. Clarity skips courage and does a do-si-do right over to high pressure. And pressure doesn't make you brave, it makes you reach for a distraction. And breathwork is the cosmic volume knob. You come out of a session and something shifts. Yes, this matters. And also, I'm going to be completely fine no matter how it goes. Not because you stopped caring, because your worth stopped being held hostage by your results. Your worth isn't determined by the outcome. That's what makes effortless action possible. That's one of the hidden benefits of breathwork. Nobody shows up to breathwork thinking, you know what sounds fun? Voluntarily winding up my nervous system. People show up wanting the noise to stop. They breathe, they feel calm. Boom, we're done. I feel calm. But stick with it and a weird side effect kicks in. People start doing the thing, not because they found a 10-step strategy, because they got less afraid of what they feel. But Chris Williamson, who does the excellent podcast Modern Wisdom, had this clip that he gave on his podcast, and I am going to rip it off here wholesale. Do the thing. Preparation to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. That hurt my feelings. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on the obstacles in the way of doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Fantasizing about all the adoration you'll receive once you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how other people did the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading this essay isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing.
That hurt my feelings.
That hurt many of my feelings. The first time I heard that, I was like, I'm just going to turn my eye. We're done with listening to podcasts today. That's what we're doing.
I'm done with you.
Yes. So all of that to say, go and do the thing. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to stay present with your fear and your discomfort.
You know what the best thing about doing the thing is?
What's that?
After you do the thing, you can stop thinking about doing the thing.
Man, isn't that true?
Oh my God, so good. Oh my God, yeah. I do not like being told what to do. It is just a character piece, but I feel the best when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Hands down. Ugh. Yeah. I know you've been delighted the couple times, probably more than a couple, when I have come to you and there's been a situation. I'm like, hey man, can I just tell you about this? I don't know what to do. I need some advice. And then you give me very sound advice. And then I come back to you and I say, remember when you told me to do A, I did B. And you are delighted. And I don't think there has been a time where it has worked out positively for me. So, I can learn is what I'm saying. Those two things, while maybe they don't go together, can both be true at the same time.
The discomfort is always going to show up. It's the uninvited guest who's at every party. The only thing is, when it shows up at this party, you stop slipping out the back door. You look at it and go, hey, you again. Cool. We're doing this anyway. So what does courage feel like? Because we've all been lied to by Hollywood movie trailers. We imagine that being courageous feels powerful. We think we're going to stand up, the superhero music will swell, and we'll totally feel invincible. Reality check. Courage usually feels terrible. When you are being brave, your body feels totally uncertain. Your stomach is in knots, you have to pee, your mouth is dry, you can't see anything. Your mind is desperately looking for a way out, and you're practically begging you to take any other option. Any other plan we got out there, let's do that one. You want another month, you want a sign written in the sky, you need a signier sign. You're waiting to feel brave before you act. You will be waiting forever because courage is not a feeling. Courage is a decision. It's simply moving your feet while your hands are still shaking. And if the idea of being courageous still feels overwhelming, remember this: you don't need to be brave all day. Courage doesn't need an afternoon. It just needs 10 seconds. 10 seconds of insane, sweaty palm bravery to cross the starting line. And to get there, we use a simple 3-step framework. See, decide, move. See. 1, stop playing dumb. What is already completely obvious? What truth have you been dodging? 2, decide. Look at the price tag of that truth. Accept the cost and stop trying to negotiate a discount with reality. 3, move. Take one single baby step within those 10 seconds. Send the text, hit send on the email, make the phone call, start the awkward conversation, set the boundary. Lay down on the mat, build that nervous system capacity, and then give life 10 seconds of courage. That's how you change your life.
I was talking to Jamie about just stuff I'm learning, gaining this connection to the energy in my own body, and how sometimes it's really big. The sensations are big. And I think to some extent I comfort myself by saying, oh, it's just because it's new. I know it's uncomfortable, but at some point this may lessen, right? Keyword may, because I don't really know. And in a very Jamie way, he kind of laughed and he goes, no, that's not going to happen. I'm like, all right, well, thank you for ruining my illusion of, I don't know, my ignorant bliss. And we started talking about how, or I started talking about how it might be like the same thing as when I started to experience very strong emotions. It's like I flipped the feelings light switch on and it was just a flood all the time. Everything was so deep. And it dawned on me that sensation, the way I feel deeply, the way those feelings hit me has not changed. What has changed, clearly there has been a change because I'm better at dealing with it. What has actually changed is my ability, not only the capacity that I have to just allow these things to occur, but also my reaction to them. And that I don't know, it's not an overnight thing, right? I can't pinpoint and say, this is when it happened. Impossible. But it was very much like in that moment, it was a little surprising because it's all been actively happening, but I haven't really been able, I've seen little things like, oh, you respond to this differently, or I had this download, or this came to me, whatever. But when you see it and it all collectively comes together in that moment, it really does kind of open my eyes to how serious that action of creating capacity is, because it can be so quiet and it can be gentle. I've definitely experienced a lot of gentleness, but for the most part, it's very uncomfortable. But coming to that realization of how everything came together was such a great feeling, and just understanding that it's nothing that is changing. It's the fact that I'm increasing my capacity.
I'm going to agree and disagree with you. So,
Let me have it.
First one, the agreement. I remember the first time I squatted 300 pounds, and it was a significant amount of weight, and it felt like it was going to crush me. And shortly after that, I heard a quote from Henry Rollins, the musician, sometimes actor, who said, somebody was asking, in years in the future, I would squat over 400 pounds. And it wasn't until I got to 400 pounds that Henry's statement really made sense, where someone was like, hey, now that you can squat 400 pounds, how does 300 pounds feel? 300 pounds is always 300 pounds. That once the weight on the bar gets heavy, there's never any point. It's like, oh, I can squat 400 now, 300 feels. No, it doesn't. It feels like 300 pounds. It feels heavy. It's a lot of weight. It's trying to squish me. Yeah. Even though you can move it much more easily than you could before, relatively speaking. The bar still bends. It's still heavy. It's still a lot. Just because you carry it well doesn't make it not heavy. So that is the part of me that's agreeing with you, that 300 pounds is always 300 pounds, and big emotions are always big emotions. Now, the disagreement part. I also remember as a kid, I started boxing when I was 2. Probably 5 or 6 where I started to remember. Like, my earliest memory is of throwing a punch at my dad's hand when I was about 2. And at 5 or 6, I remember my dad constantly adjusting my stance, adjusting my feet, adjusting my hands, adjusting my shoulders. And it all felt very awkward, and it felt very unnatural. And how could anybody perform in an athletic position like this, in this awkward stance, in this awkward position with my body twisted and things like here and that? It doesn't move. It's one hand's up, one hand's down, shoulders are tilted, turn like this. And it's like, I'm supposed to do something from this position? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I can barely stand here like this. And then by the time I was 13, thinking, how could you stand in any other position? This is the only proper position from which you could move and be effective from.
I've seen it and I can't unsee it.
Correct. And the same thing happens with our capacity and with our emotions, is that eventually you have the capacity to ride bigger waves because you are stronger, but then you also have the capacity to ride bigger waves because you have more skill, and that takes some of the tension, some of the fear of that wave, some of the discomfort of it out of the situation because you're like, me, I can handle this. All right, moving on. And I was probably about 5 years into this breathwork ceremony, doing things, when at one point I was like, I am probably dealing with more effectively by 9 o'clock in the morning than I would have in a complete day before. That situations come, situations go, I resolve them, I move along, and
Yeah.
it's no big deal. And that's just part of it. Like your increased capacity gives you increased capacity.
Yeah, 100%. I don't see how that's really disagreeing. I think it's just a beautiful addition, but I do agree 100%.
It's no longer uncomfortable. It's just
Yeah, it becomes something that you do.
technique, skill. I have the capacity to deal with this through mastering, and it becomes easier.
Yes.
And then there are other parts of it where it's, this is going to require increased strength to deal with. Not easier. My rapier wit is going to make this easier. But my brute strength is just going to have to brute strength.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is very true. And I think that both of those things are part of creating capacity.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if one can happen without the other, 'cause you kind of need them both.
So with that, we will close it out with a poem. This is In All Things by Rainer Maria Rilke. We've had Rainer on here before. By the way, Rainer is a male from Austria. Just so the name Maria does not throw you off.
Yeah, no, I can understand why it might.
So this is Rainer Maria Rilke. In all things, you must give birth to your images. They are the future waiting to be born. Fear not the strangeness you feel. The future must enter into you long before it happens. Just wait for the hour, for the moment of the new clarity, when the background hum settles, and what was terrifying becomes simple things you must do. Do not look for a sanctuary to hide from your greatness. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Step through the doorway. The hinges will groan, but the room inside is yours. And that was In All Things by Rainer Maria Rilke.
Just screams like the first word that came to mind was creativity, and the second was alignment.
Yeah. We spend our entire lives trying to outthink our emotions, building elaborate spreadsheets to track other spreadsheets and pretending that our chronic overanalyzing is some sort of noble intellectual pursuit. We wrap ourselves in the cozy blanket of confusion because if we convince ourselves that we don't know what to do, we never have to leave the couch. But clarity always removes the blanket and hands you the bill. And Rainer Maria Rilke reminds us exactly what to do when the price tag is revealed. He writes, "Fear not the strangeness you feel. The future must enter into you long before it happens. Step through the doorway. The hinges will groan, but the room inside is yours." The groaning doorway is the hard conversation that you've been avoiding, the boundary you need to set, and the leap that terrifies you. It's not going to feel safe, bubbly, or heroic. It's going to feel like knots in your stomach, a dry mouth, and shaking hands. But courage isn't a personality trait you wait around to feel. It's nervous system capacity you build through reps on the mat. Every time you ride out the discomfort of the breath instead of reaching for your phone to dodge it, you're training yourself to look your fear dead in the eye and say, "Doing it anyway." Stop trying to finance your fear over a lifetime and paying with your potential. Stop looking for a discount code or a sanctuary to hide from your growth. Preparing to do the thing is not doing the thing. You don't need an entire afternoon of bravery. You just need 10 seconds of insane, sweaty palm courage to cross the starting line. See the truth, decide the cost, and move your feet. Lay down on the mat, do the breathing, build the capacity, and step through the door. The room inside already belongs to you. How you breathe is how you live. Take a big, brave breath.